Isang mapagpalang gabi na naman mga kababayan. Andito na naman po ang inyong lingkod, Expat Update. At mag-a-update tayo ng mga nakalap nating mga impormasyon o balita dito sa wag niyo yung mga iba, sabihin nila fake news to, hindi ako fake news ha. Kasi nakikita nyo naman lahat ng mga sinasabi ko rito may mga videos. Hindi tayo nagsasalita ng mga hindi natin pinapakita yung mga minsan nga kahit buong video inaano natin para maintindihan maigi. Kahit na humaba yung content natin, importante dito is malinawan tayo. At dito, siyempre mamaya ipapaliwanag din nito ni Attorney Abayon kung ano yung mga bagong rules. Kasi babanggitin din naman nito ni Ombudsman Boying na kung tutuusin ay wala naman na siyang pakialam dito Kasi hindi naman na niya trabaho yan. Dapat to sa DOJ o kaya sa yung Secretary General yata yon. Ayun. Kasi hindi na niya sakop kumbaga. Ewan ko kung bakit siya naglabas ng mga ganitong statement na hindi naman na niya sakop. Kung hindi, mas ano pa yung kapatid niya kasi nasa DILG. So, isa siya sa mga makakaalam dapat. At isa siya sa mga maglalabas. So, ito, pakinggan na lang natin yung sasabihin niya dito at pakinggan yung maigi yung kanyang sasabihin. Kasi walang kasiguraduhan yung sinasabi niya. So, pasok.
I have it on good authority.
Oo.
Kasi public interest
Tama.
program to, that the ICC has issued a warrant against Senator Bato Dela Rosa.
Warrant of arrest.
Warrant of arrest.
Warrant
At
of
yan,
arrest. ICC to, no? International Criminal Court. No?
Ombudsman, sinasabi mo nga, kahit na wala na yan sa iyong current jurisdiction as ombudsman, di ba ito ay public interest? So yan ba, confirmed na ombudsman?
I think so. I would say so. Na I have it on
Yung sa salita niyang I think so, I would say so, wala siyang kasiguraduhan dyan. Kaya hindi porke sinabi niya, siyempre, yun na kaagad yung mangyayari kasi maski yung kapatid niya nga hindi alam yung wala pang dumarating sa kanila na arrest warrant. Alam na alam din yun kasi nasa DILG yan Sila ang isa sa mga makakaalam na mauuna siyempre. So sige tuloy.
good authority.
Oo.
Na may nakipag-usap sa akin kanina. Na kaya na-late ako may binarita lang sa akin.
Nagtrabaho ka muna.
Trabaho muna.
So paano ba?
Kasi ano yan ngayon, ang proseso kasi niyan,
Nagbago.
bago na kasi. Nung October 1, naglabas na ng new rules on extradition
Ang
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, okay.
So this is an extradition issue.
Extraditable
Extraditable offense.
Offense.
Oo.
Kasi I remember recently yata.
Ang tawag dyan kay Senator Bato would be an extradite.
Extradite.
Merong parang may inisyong guidance ba o decision o
Hindi, rules ng
yung
Supreme Court
diba, tungkol dito.
Para malinaw na lahat.
On extradition cases.
So ito papatak as an extradition case.
Yun ang lalabas dyan.
At the government to be able to implement this dapat sundin yung nasa guidelines
na
ng
bago.
Supreme Court.
Yes.
Na bago.
Kasi nga, hindi na tayo member ng Rome Statute.
Oo.
Wala na tayong treaty with the ICC.
Yes.
Although we respect the ICC as a legitimate foreign court. Yan, magre-request nga sila ng extradition. Doon na tayo papunta.
So ano naman
Ang mangyayari dyan, they will have to file it with the DOJ through the Office of the Chief State Counsel. Sila ang mag-uusap and the Solicitor General will be called to represent the government.
Meaning ICC. ICC will be the one
tawag
filing.
doon?
Filing.
Anong tawag
ICC.
doon kung extradite?
Email request yan Email request.
Kung
So,
extradite si Senator
requesting party.
yung requesting party.
ICC.
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 So they will have to pass dun sa mga channels
Guidelines, yung rules.
based on the guidelines and rules recently issued by the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Ayun.
Ngayon, ang tanong ko naman, siyempre, di ba, just to be Ano naman ang legal na mga proseso pwedeng sundin ni
Senator
Bato?
Bato.
Yung
Siyempre,
Supreme Court.
he will have to, he will also have to follow the rules.
Oo.
Basta may request sa kanya,
Pwede niya i-contest.
he will have to appear. Oh,
Yeah.
but he will have to appear.
Okay.
Oo.
Hindi
Para
naman
to
yung
defend his rights.
hindi naman yung abrupt
To
na
protect his rights.
'di ba bigla siyang
Hindi,
arrestuin.
may process,
Hindi na
may
pwede yun.
process.
Dahil doon sa bagong
Bagong rules ng Supreme Court.
kinlarify ng Supreme Court. So kailangan ng sundin yung mga 'yon.
Yes.
Oh, with the new Supreme Court circular kasi, nag-provide na ng procedure. So, ito, proseso. May bagong proseso na inilatag ang Korte Suprema. Ito susundin ngayon.
Oh, wala nang hulaan.
Oo.
Sa,
At ngayon,
wala ng question. Di na, wala
ang
nang-
maraming ang maraming naglalaro at tama-tama nandiyan si Ombudsman at ito si IG. 'Di ba? Marami kasing hindi masyadong kumbaga masyadong nalilinawan. Doon sa hindi na tayo miyembro ng ICC pero pwede pa ding mag-request yung ICC ng gano'n. Bakit pa po pwede yung gano'n? Ombudsman, IG.
Meron tayong batas Yung batas natin, Republic Act 1951, recognizes foreign bodies that may take cognizance of cases that are triable here and triable there.
In other words,
Under international humanitarian
Humanitarian
law.
law.
Under international humanitarian
in other
law.
words, yung kaso na ibinibintang kay Senator Bato ay krimen din dito sa ating bansa.
Ito rin yung kalakip to ng kaso ni dating Pangulong Duterte.
Yes.
Ayan. So, narinig nyo naman po yun, ano? Ngayon, dito tayo ngayon sa, dito sa kanyang kapatid. Eto, tignan nyo maigi basahin ninyong maigi. At iisa-isahin natin. Ito ang galing sa inquirer.net. Dated November 8, 11:18 a.m. Kanina lang to. So, sabi niya, Manila, Philippines. The Department of Interior and Local Government, DILG Secretary June Vic, yung kanyang kapatid, Remulla, said on Saturday, the government has not received any Interpol red notice against Senator Bato Dela Rosa. Ayun, wala daw. As per the Center Transnational Crimes, they have not yet received any notice as of today, Remulla told the Inquirer. The statement comes after Remulla's brother Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla said on DCRH, ito nga yung pinanood natin kanina, that an arrest warrant had been issued by International Criminal Court against the former PNP chief. Ayan. So, yun. Sinabi nga at may nakita rin ako about dito, tungkol naman kay Lucas Bersamin, na wala din naman. So, ibig sabihin, itong lang ang nagsasabi, itong si Ombudsman, na hindi naman na niya hindi na niya trabaho. So, papasok na rin na naman yung dito, pagbibendalo. Ewan ko lang. Ipapaliwanag ito ni Attorney Abayon. Ito, si Attorney Abayon. Pasok, Attorney. Ito, pasok. Asa na? Ba't nawala ang signal?
The warrant of arrest si Senator Bato Dela Rosa according to Ombudsman Remulla. Okay, pero before po kayo maging mainit yung mga DDS supporters and the anti-DDS group, ang masasabi ko lang po is relax lang po muna tayo. Diba? Tingnan muna natin yung actual facts kung meron ba talagang ICC warrant. And then pangalawa po, tingnan din natin kung ano ba talaga yung sinasabi ng batas regarding this issue considering meron ng bagong rules na nilabas sa extradition po yung Supreme Court recently lang. Okay? And the reason po kaya ako sinabi na relax lang po tayong lahat kahit na po DDS or anti-Duterte tayo is because this involves po, we have to remember, a Filipino citizen who is going to be surrendered to a foreign country kung magtuloy-tuloy talaga to. Diba? And if that involves the surrendering of a Filipino citizen, that affects all of us po, considering that can be argued po as a violation of our sovereignty as a country. Okay? So yan po ang masasabi ko unang-una. Relax lang po muna tayo. Intindihin muna natin talaga yung actual na mga nangyayari at kung ano ba talaga yung sinasabi ng batas natin regarding sa mga issues na to. Okay? And the reason po pala kaya ako sinabing bending news is because this came from Ombudsman Remulla. Pero kung titingnan po natin yung mga other government offices natin, specifically from the executive branch, ang sinabi po nila ay wala pa silang natanggap na information about this na meron ngang ICC warrant. And then nagsalita na rin po yung ICC spokesperson na wala rin daw po silang any warrant pa. And the only case involving a Filipino citizen is the one that is pending, which is currently involving po si former President Rodrigo Duterte. Okay? Kaya ako nasabing bending news kasi kahit ako po naguluhan eh. Si Ombudsman Remulla lang po at present ang nagsabing meron, pero everyone else po sa government, lahat sinasabing wala. And even the ICC rin po sinabing wala. E di, ang dating sa akin ngayon is bending news pa lang siya. Okay, pero anyway po, let's look at actual news articles regarding this para mas klaro po talaga tayo. So, ang magiging basihan lang po ng discussion natin for today is itong sa Newswatch plus Philippines kasi ito yung maganda po pagka-present nila nito ng mga happening so far regarding this issue. Maganda yung presentation. So, unang-una niyan, 4 hours ago, sabi nila, ICC warrant for Senator Bato. And then sabi, update, the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant against Senator Bato Dela Rosa, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla. So ito po si Ombudsman Boying said in a radio interview. Pero sabi po, next naman, Department of Justice said it is still verifying the information. As of this hour,
Post natin. Mahirap na kasing ulitin.
we are currently working to verify
Ayan,
ito yung mga happening so far regarding this issue. Maganda yung presentation. So, unang-una niyan, 4 hours ago, sabi nila, ICC warrant for Senator Bato. And then sabi, update, the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant against Senator Bato Dela Rosa, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla. So, ito po si Ombudsman Boying said in a radio interview. Pero sabi po, next naman, Department of Justice said it is still verifying the information. As of this hour, we are currently working to verify this information. We have not also seen or received a copy of said warrant, Justice spokesperson Paulo Martinez said. And then si Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla, DILG naman po, said that as of 11:30 a.m., the Center for Transnational Crimes has not received any red notice against De La Rosa, the chief implementer of the Duterte administration's war on drugs. Okay? And then after po niya, naglabas din po si Senator Bato mismo yung camp naman niya regarding this. So this one po was via Attorney Israelito P. Torion, Counsel of Senator Ronald Bato Dela Rosa. Okay, so sila Senator Bato rin po, wala pang natanggap na verified information regarding this. And then, ito na po yung sinabi ko kanina, yung ICC spokesperson. Ayan, si ICC spokesperson Abdallah tells Newswatch Plus that official ICC updates can only be confirmed through its official channels. Diba? So, ito nga yung ginawa natin before kay PRRD. Sa case po ni PRRD, we confirmed it via their website. Pero since top secret daw, hindi pinpublic a couple of days prior. And then, noting that the court still has only one case at present, the one against former President Duterte. Okay? And then, ang pinaka-recent po niya na development is yung tungkol naman sa Executive Secretary na kay Lucas Bersamin. ES Lucas Bersamin noted it will not be the same process of enforcement if an Interpol notice were to emerge for De La Rosa. The Supreme Court has since come out with a new rule on extradition requiring a prior resort to a court before the person subject of extradition may be brought out of the country, the Executive Secretary said. Diba? So, the Supreme Court approved the new rules in April and then nakapublish. Pero anyway po, itong Supreme Court new rules regarding this, ito yung i-discuss ko ngayon kung applicable nga ba talaga to siya sa case ni Senator Bato. Okay, pero anyway po, yan yung pinaka-summary ng facts natin. So far po, si Ombudsman Remulla yung nagbalita nito, but all the other government offices po at present sa executive branch and sa legislative kay Senator Bato's office, dininay po yung existence or wala pa daw po silang information as to the legitimacy of the arrest warrant. And then, idagdag ko na lang din po pala, may statement din dito si Senator Soto, si Senate President Tito Soto po. Sabi niya, Soto says Senate off limits to arrest amid alleged ICC warrant versus Bato. So, ibig sabihin lang nito, hindi papayag si Senate President Tito Soto na arestuhin si Senator Bato as long as si Senator Bato is in the premises of the Senate. Okay, yan po yung understanding ko dito sa statement ni SP President, ni Senate President Tito Soto. Okay, pero hindi natin alam, baka later on magbago. Pero
Yes.
as of November 8, 2025,
Hindi namin
3:19
masabi
p.m., ito po yung statement niya ni Senate President Tito Sotto. Okay, so yan po yung facts ng discussion natin. Ngayon, let's go to the legal side of things. Sama po, unang-una po dyan, i-discuss ko muna sa inyo kung whether or not applicable ba talaga yung new rules on extradition kay Senator Bato. Considering extradition yung new rules, diba, yung pinapag-usapan dito is mga surrender, so to the ICC court. Okay, so yan po ang first question natin.
Ano ba talaga ang batas natin tungkol sa surrender?
So to answer that question po, tingnan muna natin yung Republic Act 9851. So ito po yung batas natin dito sa Pilipinas that touches on international humanitarian law or yung mga international crimes po.
9851.
Basically ito yung ginamit para i-surrender po si fprrd sa ICC na basis po ng government natin ngayon. Okay? And the reason po nila doon is yung section 17 nito. So, pakita ko po yan sa inyo. Okay, so kung makita po nyo, Chapter 7, Jurisdiction, Section 17, Jurisdiction. Pero yung important lang pong iti-take note natin dito is itong second paragraph. So, makita po nyo, in the interest of justice, the relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime punishable under this act if another court or international tribunal po, ito yung ICC, is already conducting the investigation or undertaking the prosecution of such crime. Instead, the authorities may surrender or extradite suspected or accused persons in the Philippines to the appropriate international court, if any, or to another state pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Okay? So, ito pong provision na to, kung ako po ang tatanungin talaga ninyo, ang professional assessment ko po talaga is that this is actually a gray area po. Kasi kung titingnan po ninyo, ang nakalagay dito sa second sentence, sa last sentence po, the authorities may surrender or extradite to the appropriate international court or to another state pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Okay? And ang nakalagay dito sa pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties, wala po kasing comma dito eh. So since wala pong comma, pag ito po basahin itong last part, ibig sabihin yan, itong applicable extradition laws and treaties only applies sa another state. Diba? E tatandaan po natin, yung ICC is not another state. It is a international tribunal. Okay? So in other words po, my main point here is that it can really be argued both ways na the extradition laws does not apply to the case of surrendering an accused sa ICC, or it can also be argued na yung extradition laws applies sa pag-surrender po sa isang person dito sa Philippines to the ICC. Okay? At ang reason po kaya ako nasabi na yung extradition laws natin may apply dun sa pag-surrender po sa ICC kasi wala naman na pong treaty ngayon yung Philippines with the ICC, di ba? So kung wala pong treaty yung Philippines with the ICC, therefore we do not have any law or provision that touches specifically on this one, yung pag-surrender. Meron tayong extradite, di ba? Kasi we have laws on extradition. Pero as far as I know, wala po tayong batas or rules of procedure involving surrender. Okay? At kung ganun po, kung ako tatanungin ninyo, pwede ito siya i-argue na extradition laws and treaties na lang will apply when we talk of surrender kasi there is no law which discusses nga po yung term na surrender to an international court. Diba? And if it will be shown by the lawyers of an accused na i-surrender na pabor itong provision na to sa isang akusado, edi pwede yan igamitin in favor kasi ganun po yan sa criminal laws natin in the interpretation of criminal laws. If there is ambiguity or yung magulo po na interpretation, then that will always be interpreted in favor of the accused. Diba? So since this law po discusses about international crime, so that is a criminal act po or related to criminal laws, therefore pwede natin i-apply yung ganung argument na any ambiguity should be interpreted in favor of an accused. Diba? Dito, in accused of an international crime ang pinapag-usapan. Okay, so again, ulitin ko lang po kasi baka naguluhan na kayo. Since wala po tayong specific na batas that touches on the term surrender to an international court kasi yun nga po yung wordings ng batas dito ay dinire-diretso nila na another state dire-diretso pursuant to ganyan. Therefore, ito pong latter part na extradition laws and treaties is interpreted based on simple English na applies lang sa another state. Okay? Pero since yun nga po, there is room for argument, so there is ambiguity in a sense, so pwede po i-argue yan ngayon ng isang akusado na ito dapat extradition laws and treaties ay i-apply din sa kanya pag mapakita niya na favorable yun sa kanya. Okay? Because again, every time there is an ambiguity, it is always interpreted in favor of an accused in criminal laws po natin. Okay? At yung isa pa po na kailangan natin i-take note dito, kung talagang i-insist ng abogado na isang akusado na wala tayong batas involving surrender, di ang ibig sabihin po niyan, bawal talaga ang Pilipinas mag-surrender ng isang tao, may it be a Filipino citizen or a foreign citizen na nire-request po ng isang international court or international tribunal. And tatandaan po natin, ito po kasing mga issues na to na dinidiscuss natin, these are all cases or matters of first impression, meaning this is the first time na nagkaroon ng ganitong legal issue sa bansa natin. So there is really room for argument, diba? Depende na lang po yan kung ano yung mga general principles of law na i-apply ng mga bawat abogado. So kung ako po tatanungin ninyo, I will be applying the provision or the criminal law principle that every time there is an ambiguity, it should always be interpreted in favor of the accused. So yung first argument ko po dyan, since there is no law that touches on surrender, so ang gagawin po, extradition laws and treaties na lang yung i-apply sa isang akusado kasi pabor naman yun sa kanya. Diba? At yung second pa na pwede pa natin i-argue dyan, since wala pong batas that touches on or clearly discusses how to surrender an accused on international court, edi dapat hindi po talaga mag-surrender ang Philippine government ng isang akusado to the international court. Okay, yan po yung mga possible room for arguments niyan. And ngayon po, i-discuss ko naman sa inyo yung new rules natin on extradition, kung ano yung procedure na sinabi po ng Supreme Court.
Yan. Ito ang importante
Okay,
dito.
so ito po yan, yung AM number 22-03-29-SC Rules on Extradition Proceedings. So ito po yung mga opening statement ng Supreme Court dyan. So of course, yung unang-una dyan, sinasabi nila is yung authority nila, ano yung legal basis kung bakit may authority sila to promulgate this, which is yung Section 5, Paragraph 5, Article 8 of the 1987 Constitution. This court is empowered to promulgate rules concerning protection and enforcement of constitutional right, pleading practice, and so on and so forth. And then, pangalawa po, whereas there is a need to provide rules on extradition proceedings to ensure consistency and give guidance in handling extradition cases. Okay, so this one po, point po talaga ng Supreme Court dito is para maging klaro paano ba talaga mag-extradite or magpadala po ng isang Pilipino or ng isang akusado sa ibang bansa or to a foreign tribunal. Okay, and then yung makikita po natin dyan, unang-una, ipakita ko muna sa inyo yung definition of terms para hindi po kayo maguluhan. So, ang sinabi po dito, definition of term, central authority means the Secretary of Justice. Okay, so ang point nito kaya may ganitong provision is because yung magsa-start po ng process sa pag-extradite is the Secretary of Justice. Magsa-start sa pag-file po sa korte. Pero yung pinaka first step po talaga is the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, which is referred to as the Executive Authority under letter C. Kasi sila po yung maka-receive ng request from the international court or from another country. Okay, ang nakalagay dyan, who shall transmit to the central authority the request for extradition. Okay, so yan po yung proceedings. Una po, DFA muna makatanggap ng request and then ipapadala yan ngayon dun sa DOJ para i-prepare na yung mga documents to file the appropriate paperwork for the extradition. And then yung proceedings po niyan, ayan, makikita po nyo, an action for extradition is commenced by the filing of a verified petition by the central authority before the extradition court. At ito pong extradition court, this is a second level court. So when you say second level court, ito po yung mga regional trial court natin. Nandito po yan actually rin sa taas, ipakita ko na nga lang din po para sigurado talaga tayo. Yan. So letter F, extradition court means a second level court which a petition for extradition is filed where the extraditee resides or if unknown, the court that has jurisdiction over the place where the office of the central authority is located. Okay? Anyway po, going back to the proceeding. So yan po, if a file nung DOJ sa RTC and once na-receive po yan ng extradition court, ito na po yan ngayon, section 4 naman. The extradition court upon receipt of the petition for extradition shall conduct an ex parte review of the petition and determine whether the petition is sufficient in form and substance. It complies with the law and the applicable extradition treaty. And 3, there is probable cause that the same, ganyan, so on and so forth. In other words po, i-verify yung legitimacy ng international warrant of arrest or yung request po ng ibang bansa or ng international court ng extradition court bago siya mag-release nitong extradition warrant of arrest. Okay? So again, this is for verification and authentication purposes po. Kasi mahirap naman na ipakitaan ng kayo ng papel dyan or document, tas arestuhin kayo, tas hindi man lang kayo mabigyan ng opportunity to defend yourself and to question whether or not legitimate ba talaga yung document na yon na pinapakita sa inyo. Okay? Pero dito po, kinlarify na the extradition court will review everything first to determine the genuineness, the authenticity, and the legality basically of the international request or of that international warrant of arrest. Okay? So stated differently po, ang gusto ko lang talaga i-point out, hindi pwede arestuhin ang isang akusado na isosurrender or extradite to a foreign body, to a foreign court, to a foreign country unless and until po mag-release yung extradition court ng extradition warrant of arrest. Okay? Hindi po pwede yung document galing abroad ipadala lang dito tas yun yung magiging basihan sa pag-aresto. Hindi po yun ganun as per these rules. Dapat yung extradition court po ang mag-release ng extradition warrant of arrest. And then from that extradition warrant of arrest, dun lang po pwede arestuhin at isurrender ngayon ang isang Pilipino to the foreign court or to the foreign government. Okay? So hopefully klaro po yan.
Okay.
So in conclusion po, ang masasabi ko lang dito, kung masunod talaga yung bagong rules on extradition proceedings is hindi po ito mangyayari in a span of 12 hours na mapapadala agad si Senator Bato sa ICC. Kasi he will be given the opportunity to respond to the petition that will be filed for the extradition warrant of arrest. So in other words po, ngayon, klaro na talaga kung ano yung or kung paano i-implement yung right to due process ng isang respondent po sa extradition or surrender request ng isang foreign body. Okay? And klaruhin ko na lang din po, even without the extradition rules natin, we have to remember that the right to due process po is in our constitution. Diba? And to be specific, that is in section 1 of the Bill of Rights. Number 1 po talaga yan sa constitution natin. Nakalagay po dyan, no person shall be deprived of his right to life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Okay? So ang ibig sabihin po niyan, kahit na po magulo yung batas natin or yung rules of procedure dun sa extradition in past cases like that of dun kay fprrd, any Filipino citizen or any person po who lives or sojourns in the Philippines ay may right to due process. Okay? At ang ibig sabihin po niyan, he has the right to explain his side or to defend himself in the proper venue. Okay? At alam kong sasabihin proper venue daw sa ICC sa The Hague na mag-explain na lang sa fprrd. Pero kung ako po tatanungin ninyo as a Filipino citizen, as a lawyer, dapat po dito muna sana siya pina-explain para mabigyan man lang ng chance si fprrd to question the genuineness or the authenticity of the warrant na in-issue ng ICC. Kasi malay ba natin kung peke yun, di ba? Tapos biglang kinuha lang siya, tapos pinadala na lang doon. Okay, so kung sabihin ninyong DDS lawyer ako because of this, then so be it. But ako po, yun yung understanding ko talaga sa constitution natin, di ba? Even though we don't have Republic Acts, rules of procedure, since the right to due process is in the constitution, then we must give a Filipino citizen his right to be heard before he will be deprived of his right to liberty. Okay, so yan po ang masasabi ko on this matter. Okay, so anyway po, hopefully klaro yun. If you like more legal videos,
Yan. So, nakita nyo naman, malinaw naman, di ba? Malinaw naman yung kanyang sinabi. So, dadaan sa proseso at may bagong kasi nung nangyari yung pag-aresto kay kay fprrd, hindi tayo naniniwala doon na talagang hindi nila binend yung law. Kasi kung hindi naman, abogado yan si fprrd. Kaya alam na alam niya yung proseso. Ngayon, para lang hindi magkagulo, then gawin niyo. So be it. Para wala nang gulo. Ang problema ngayon dito, nandun na siya. Yung problema dito, baka mamaya abutan siya ng kamatayan doon dahil siyempre nasa matanda na, tapos baka hindi na asikaso ng maayos, at saka siyempre paano yung kanyang di ba dapat sa mga atin bilang Pilipino, tayo ng mga Pilipino, di ba, mapagmahal tayo sa mga mga matatanda natin. Kung maaari nga hindi tayo ng mga home for the aged, hindi tulad sa ibang bansa na hindi naman sa mga ibang bansa na doon na lang yung matatanda nila, lalo na diyan sa Amerika. meron silang home for the aged. Sa atin, hanggat mayroong pamilya na aasikaso sa ating mga matatanda hanggang sa kanilang pagpanaw, di ba para tayong nagbabalik. Kumbaga, ibinabalik din natin yung pag-asikaso nila sa atin nung tayo ay hindi pa makalakad, hindi pa makakain, yung inaasikaso pa tayo. Yun yung ugaling Pilipino. Hindi yung ipapadala mo na lang yung matanda doon na mag-isa lang, tapos para lang sa pansariling para sa politika, talagang kwan yun. Kaya ito talaga tama yung sinabi ni Attorney Neil Abayon na another bending news. So hanggang dito na lang at maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood at naway malinaw po sa inyo dahil pinakita naman natin yung mismong kapatid niya na nasa DILG, yung kay Secretary Lucas Dirsamin, sinabi naman ni Attorney Neil na talagang wala naman silang natatanggap. So malinaw na ito ay bending news galing kay galing kay Ombudsman na which is hindi naman na niya sakop ito. Bakit pa nakikialam? Ewan ko ba kung bakit sa basa ko nga isa ito sa mga kuwan na naman nila yung panglito na siyempre para mailigaw na naman yung usapin sa mga flood controls kasi nga nangyayari nga itong kuwan tulad ng nangyari diyan sa Cebu at sa anong kuwan yun, sa Negros yata yun yung bagyo. So napakaraming namatay at saka nakita naman natin kung paano ang naging pinsala is napakalaki. Isa sa mga nakikita natin is yung sinabi rin naman ng governor doon na bago na ito ay kini-question pa nga yung 26 billion na flood control. Bakit ganun ang nangyari? Wasak-wasak. Nakita naman sa mga aerial inspection nila. Wasak-wasak yung mga yung mga uh, flood control projects. Talagang kwan yun. Kung nabutas na yan or nawasak, pupunta na sa kabahayan yan. Doon na magsisimula yung Kasi ang tubig talaga, maghahanap ng lalabasan yan. Pero kung may tamang na hindi umapaw or hindi nabutas, didiretso rin sa kanyan, may didiretso yan. Didiretso halimbawa sa tubig na sa dagat, doon didiretso yan, kung tutuusin. Pero ang nangyari, dumiretso sa kabahayan dahil na sira yung mga flood control. So, hanggang dito na lang at maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. At kung hindi pa kayo nakakapag-subscribe, andyan lang po ang subscribe button. At pakiclick na rin yung notification bell para lagi kayong updated sa ating mga videos. Maraming salamat. Syukran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.